Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 Oldsmar City Council meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The first thing on our agenda is our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, as well as the rights and needs of both the individual and our community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations this evening. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I would like to invite Cub Scout Pack 413 to lead us tonight in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come right, yep, perfect.
Okay, flags right here.
Okay, gentlemen.
Start us off. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Perfect. Oh.
Well done. Well done. Not many people do it that well, you guys. Fantastic job. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you.
That was loud and clear.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
Proud young men. Fourth graders generally, yeah.
Oh, nice.
The next item on our agenda is our open forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject that is not a public hearing. We do not have any public hearing items this evening.
One public hearing.
We have
Two. Under city
It's
attorney.
not in blue.
10 and 11.
Put it in blue for me. They're trying to mess with me. Items 10 and 11 are public hearing items. If you have comments on items 10 or 11, please wait until those items are called, at which time we will invite you to come and speak. Aside from that, would anyone on this side of the room like to address the council? Okay, anyone on this side of the room like to address the council? Okay, Jessica is pointing to Amber first, so Ms. Stevens, we will have you first.
Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Welcome back to our City Clerk.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight to ask that you please consider Holly as a full-time appointment to our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. She's been doing a fabulous job. She just had our first meeting in February, and she brought great ideas. Also, Miss Tina Marie, please reappoint her. She's also been doing a great job and brings back great feedback as well. And she is our liaison for upcoming survey, so she'll be working with the director to come up with questions. She brings those questions back to the board. We go over those questions as a board and decide how that goes out to the community. So speaking of surveys, I have our results from fall 25 for our Parks User Survey. And I don't know if you remember our number, but it was the most we've ever had for our park survey. It was 572. As a board, yes, thank you. We're very proud. I think staff is very proud too of that number.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to highlight a couple of those things. Again, it was 572. 75% of those respondents were Oldsmar residents. Highest participation was from ages 35 to 64. Most households had 3 to 4 people, most with children. And most residents go to the park weekly, so that's good to know that they're going out there. Our most highly used park was Ari Olds Park. Not surprised by that. Followed by Sheffield Park, Veterans Memorial, Bicentennial, and Mobley Beach Park. Most people, when they go to use the parks, they're going to run, walk, bike, use the playgrounds, go to community events, and nature community events. 85% were feeling safe while going to the parks. And some of the key challenges were limited parking at popular parks. Not surprised, we have more green space, so there's not going to be as much parking. Ongoing maintenance for concerns, and lighting and restroom cleanliness. So the Oldsmar's parks are highly valued, heavily used, and viewed positively by our residents. So that's the overall conclusion that we have from our survey. So again, our board is very proud, so I just wanted to share those results with you. So thank you for your
Very
time.
cool. Thank you. And Ms. Vilfana.
Jessica Villafana at 407 Tangerine Drive. I just wanted to share that March is National Social Work Month. Yep, along with Women's Month and a couple other months. But Social Work Month was first celebrated in March of 1963 to build public support for the profession. Social work has its core values in community service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, personal relationships, integrity, and competence. This year's theme for the National Association of Social Workers is Uplift, Defend, Transform. I couldn't think of a better community to share those values with than Oldsmar. Our city and its residents embody the values that social work holds dear. We uplift, looking at our Oldsmar Cares. We defend, looking at Operation Jack's Village. We transform, looking at Oldsmar Support Services Alliance. I see many of our local businesses being part of these efforts, proving that social work values and business can be a successful combination. I see working in the field of healthcare finance and social work for the past 35 years has made me aware of how true that can be. Uplifting and helping those without the funds to pay for their health care has led to many positive outcomes that I've witnessed over the years. Too many to even talk about here. I see that our business is not just making donations to the charitable causes that we have, but contributing to helping our environment, being part of our local environmental management division, showing that, again, our social work values and business can coexist. So just wanted to wish everybody a happy Social Work Month. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would anybody else on this side of the room like to address the council? Okay, with that, we will close our open forum. You're so welcome. Next on our agenda is our community minute, but before it is read, I just wanted to take a moment and welcome back our city clerk, Kristen Garcia. Let's give her a round of applause. We missed you, Kristen. It's wonderful to see your face.
Thank you, Mayor, for the warm welcome.
So now you have to work, right? That's the only downside to coming back, right?
That's okay.
So you get to read that community minute again.
Yes, absolutely. So the spray park is now open. It's open daily from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. The Cypress Forest Spray Park. Bring your swimsuits and sunscreen for opening day at the spray park. Parking is available with an annual pass, or is $5 per day. Patriotic photo contest. Submissions are due on Friday, May 29th. Capture the spirit of America to help celebrate our country's 250th birthday by submitting your most patriotic photos. Photographers ages 16 and up are encouraged to submit what America Pride means to you. Its landscapes, history, traditions, symbols, people, and celebrations. For details, visit Oldsmar, Florida, or oldsmarfl.gov. And the Oldsmar Historical Collection is open on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on Saturday, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Oldsmar Public Library. History has a home at the Oldsmar Historical Collection, where memories, milestones, and local legacy come together in one remarkable space. Stop by for a historical experience. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Kristen. We have no new agenda items, no items under awards and recognition, Community Redevelopment Agency, and now we are back at the consent docket, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor.
Take a breath, take a second.
You got it.
Got you working too hard, first day back.
I know. Item 1, consider approval of the minutes of the February 17th, 2026 council meeting. Item 2, consider appointment of Holly Graziato as a regular member of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to fill an unexpired term expiring on January 7th, 2027. Item 3, consider reappointment of Firefighter Pension Board of Trustees trustee Tracy Lester. Item 4, consider reappointment of Tina Marie Richardson to Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Item 5, consider approval of the purchase of Information Technology Network Security Services. Item 6, consider awarding PACE Analytical Services for environmental laboratory testing services, utilizing the same pricing terms and conditions as the Collier County Contract Number 238149, and Lake County Contract Number 25910. Item 7, consider awarding contract to Mater Electric Motors to conduct rehabilitation work on the Goal Air A lift station per the pricing terms and conditions of the Lee County Contract Number B240030 KCW. And that's a reading of the consent docket.
Thanks so much. Would anyone wish to pull anything?
I'd like to pull item 2.
Item 2. Anyone else? I'd like to pull item 3. So items 2 and 3. The chair will entertain a motion to approve items 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on these items? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, consider appointment of Holly Graziato as a regular member of the Parks and Rec Board. Please come on up. Go ahead, Valerie. You wish to pull the item.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Valerie.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good. How are you enjoying your time on the Parks and Rec Board? You've been fulfilling a temporary seat, correct?
I have. I had the opportunity to attend my first meeting once you all approved me as the alternate member when I was here back in November. So I attended a few weeks ago for the first meeting in February, and I was able to sit up there, I think actually at your chair up there.
Special seat?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I was able to contribute at the first meeting that I attended as the alternate member, and then we also have the opportunity now with someone who stepped down to fulfill that regular seat.
So you're enjoying it? You
Oh,
don't- you don't-
yes.
You don't want to
Yeah,
back
well,
out?
I've only
Yeah.
been on for a limited time, so
Okay.
yes,
Good.
yes. I appreciate having the opportunity to serve and give back to the community in a role that I feel aligns with my experience. I'm an avid user of the parks and the rec center, and I enjoy it usually through running through the parks, and I'm familiar with most, if not all, of the parks in the city.
All right, great.
Fantastic.
Thank
Well,
you.
We thank
Thanks.
you for volunteering and serving on the board.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Chair will entertain a motion to approve item number 2.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Item number 3, consider reappointment of Firefighters Pension Board of Trustees. Trustee Tracy Lester, please come forward, Ms. Lester. It is. It's longer than you think, right? How are you? Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your time on the board so far?
Sure. I've been to, I think, 3 or 4 meetings now. Great group. Really have the firefighters in mind, certainly wanting to make sure that their funds are protected and their legacy is protected. Great. Like I said, it's a good group to be a part of, and I feel like I can use the skills that I have to make sure that we're doing their fund proud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for continuing to volunteer. We appreciate you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Lester?
Just thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. The chair will entertain a motion to approve item number 3.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Appreciate seeing you. Okay, with that, we will move on to City of Oldsmar, item number 8, the presentation of the proclamation for 2026 Flood Awareness Week,
Shall I?
which will be presented by Councilmember Sean Swager.
Is his voice back?
Say again.
Is his voice back?
It's no longer a horse.
Oh.
He is
gotcha.
no longer hoarse.
All right. So, whereas the city of Oldsmar has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events resulting in flooding in both coastal and riverine areas. And this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high risk, special flood hazard areas, or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the City of Oldsmar is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to the property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, the Florida Floodplain Managers Association have declared the week of March 9th through the 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, I, Councilmember Sean Swager, on behalf of the City Council of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of March 9th through the 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week in the City of Oldsmar, and further encourage the citizens to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding.
Well done. Sent that to Tatiana Childress, our Director of Planning and Redevelopment, who also has a brief presentation, I believe. But first, let's take a picture. Okay, I'm gonna go this way, so I'm not directly in the middle of you guys, because it's awkward.
Try to zoom in. Okay.
Good evening. Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Redevelopment Director. So we have a very brief presentation regarding the Flood Awareness Week.
Tatiana, can you unplug your computer and plug it back in?
That was really cool. That's never happened before. It was like the Wizard of Oz was speaking to me.
Didn't know that was possible.
I didn't know either, and now I'm a little nervous.
Somebody's watching. Yeah.
Always
Always.
watching. All right, there we go.
Thank you. So this will be just a very high-level overview of the following topics. The flood risk and special flood hazard area, also abbreviated as SFHA, FIRM, which is the flood insurance rate map, NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program, flood ordinances and local authority, the CRS, the Community Rating System, and responsible building and smart development. Also, just a brief overview of flood protection methods, flood preparedness, Alert Pinellas, and Hurricane Expo that's coming up. So first, we'll start with the flood risk. The city of Oldsmar has experienced severe weather in the recent years. The 2024 hurricanes caused significant flooding and damage to homes and businesses in both high-risk special flood hazard areas and moderate-risk flood zones. And flooding is the most common and costly natural disaster in the United States, impacting every state. Most residents in Oldsmar reside in the special flood hazard area, as outlined on this map in pink. The special flood hazard area is the area with 1% annual flood risk, also known as the 100-year flood. And it doesn't mean that it's a flood that happens once in 100 years. So it's a 1 in 100% in 100 chance per year. And it's also referred as the base flood. So your base flood elevation, your BFE, is the computed water surface elevation of the 1% annual chance of flood. So FEMA has developed special maps that show special flood hazard area, flood zones, the elevations. These maps are known as the FIRMS, Flood Insurance Rate Maps. And this is what they look like if you go to the FEMA's website. So you'll see that the majority of Oldsmar here in residential areas located within the special flood hazard area. And the latest firm data has also detailed elevations for each of the zones. These zones are delineated by these lines, the contours. And we also have one more contour added here, so outlined here. It's called LIMWA, Limit of Moderate Wave Action. The current effective date of these maps is August 24th, 2021. That's when we adopted the new flood maps. And paper and historic firms are available in our office. So mortgage lenders will require purchase of flood insurance in special flood hazard area. And firm maps are different than your evacuation zones, although they're somewhat similar and they overlap. So this is your evacuation zone. So Pinellas County maintains official interactive evacuation maps based on the hurricane storm surge vulnerability, and these maps can be accessed by visiting Pinellas County Flood Map Service Center. As you can see from this map, so the majority of Oldsmar again is within evacuation zone A. So if your house is located on the south side of Tampa Road, so you're basically in evacuation zone A, and that's the first zone that has to evacuate together with the mobile home parks. And we have one modular home, mobile home community, which is the Galera Village, outlined here in green color. So the new maps, they also establish the coastal A zone, also known as CAS, and the limit of moderate wave action. This is the line that delineates that coastal A zone. The LIMWA is the area where the wave height is between 1.5 foot and 3 foot during the base flood event. And from this graphic, you can see that you have your still water flood elevation, which is the dashed line, and you also have your BFEs determined from that LIMWA, the limit of moderate wave action, which is kind of like a wave that looks on this graphic. So it's much higher in that coastal A zone, and it causes the additional risk for those properties located within CAS. So the new maps data also determine the foundation type of the structures, and here you can see that fill is not permitted in the coastal A zone, and also what's only permitted is the stem wall design in your AE zone. In the VE zone, only the piers and columns are the only type of foundations that are permitted currently. We also like to mention here that per FEMA, enclosures below the base flood elevation can only be used for parking, storage, and access. It's demonstrated on this slide. On the next slides, we'll cover will be just a high-level overview of the National Flood Insurance Program. So the City of Oldsmar is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program, which allows residents to purchase flood insurance at reduced rates and requires the city to adopt and enforce floodplain management standards to reduce flood risk and potential damage. The NFIP, established under the National Flood Insurance Act of 1968, helps mitigate financial risk for property owners and renters through flood insurance. In exchange, participating communities adopt floodplain management regulations to reduce future flood damage. The city joined the National Flood Insurance Program in 1971. So participating communities agree to comply with Title 44 of the Code of Federal Regulations, which specifies minimum requirements for structure protection. Non-compliance can result in FEMA probation or suspension, which with serious consequences as seen in areas affected by Hurricane Ian in 2022. The legal authority governing floodplain management regulations rests with the local community and granted by state statutes designed to address public health, safety, and welfare of residents. Oldsmar regulations are adopted through the Florida Building Code and flood ordinance regulations. Oldsmar NFIP policyholders for consequences for not following the NFIP regulations. So Oldsmar NFIP policyholders, those with federally regulated mortgages or citizens insurance policy, would need to buy private flood insurance if available, use a non-federally regulated lender, or risk foreclosure. Homeowners in FEMA's special flood hazard area cannot sell or buy required federally regulated mortgages or citizens coverage, and projects in special flood hazard area risk repayment of hazard mitigation grant program funds, and the city or the county may not be eligible to apply for future grants, including the HUD funding, for not following the NFIP regulations. So the city of Oldsmar also participates in the CRS, which is the community rating system. The community rating system is a voluntary incentive program that recognizes and encourages community floodplain management practices that exceed the minimum requirements of the NFIP. These are also known as the higher regulatory standards, and this program provides participating communities with discounts on flood insurance premiums. This is just a chart with activities. So CRS activities, work is grouped kind of like in activities, and they go by activities, 300 activities, 400 activities, 500, and you'll see that this is a multi-departmental effort, so it covers anything from outreach. So Dab Vitrali will be posting something via the public information page, or it will be related to flood mapping or direct enforcement of certain regulations as it for the construction, like flood certificates and other elements that are building related. So Oldsmar today is a Class 5 community with over 2,500 verified points and providing policyholders with discount of up to 25%. So if you look at your declaration page, and you'll see community discount in parentheses, sometimes you'll see a percentage. So it's up to 25. It depends on your on the location of your property. So it could be up to 25 in savings. And CRS maintenance requires annual recertification to maintain the current class 5, and also a 5-year audit. It's called a community assistant visit to ensure that CRS activities are properly documented in our ordinance and also implemented. So every 5 years, we have a visit from FEMA representative, from CRS representative, who will review all of the ordinances, documents, and verification, and also like a real visit in the community. So what is the local community role in the NFIP? Again, adopting the local floodplain management ordinances and building codes that meet or exceed state laws and NFIP minimum standards. Appoint floodplain administrator or for the community. Enforce the floodplain management ordinances consistently throughout the community and promote proactive floodplain management. Evaluate local flood risks to identify mitigation actions to reduce risk, adopt higher standards specifically applicable to our community, and ensure accurate, updated flood hazard information. So if you're planning to rebuild your house, you can always stop by our department and we can provide via pre-application meeting sort of kind of like all the information that's available to us today, starting from your base flood elevation to the type of construction to we'll guide you through the process of the pre-permit application before you submit your application to the to Pinellas County for a building permit. And you can see here Mandy in action. So we actually had just this meeting happening recently where she provided this information to a potential new homeowner who's trying to build here in the VE zone where we have higher standards. Also, the city of Oldsmar recognizes the value of floodplain in comprehensive planning to guide the development through growth and land use policies and limit development in dangerous parts of the floodplain or in sensitive ecological areas. Regarding the flood protection methods and flood preparedness, so residents are encouraged to sign up for Alert Pinellas to receive emergency notifications. The Hurricane Expo happening this year on April 25th at Nielsen is another excellent opportunity to learn how to prepare your home and family. And small actions like elevating utilities, installing flood vents, and securing outdoor items can significantly reduce flood damage. That I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for Tatiana?
I have one. Are the LOMAs still a thing? The letter of map amendment?
Yes, in certain
Still.
areas,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so homes that are elevated above the floodplain if they get the letter submitted to FEMA, they can actually have a further reduced insurance.
Yes,
premium.
as long as your, what they call the highest adjacent grade is higher than the BFE, the base flood elevation, then potentially you could apply for that LOMAR based on, yes.
Of course, Tatiana knows.
So still call Tatiana, still call Tatiana if you have questions. Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is interview applicants for the Firefighter Pension Board of Trustees vacancy. You were checking something. Okay. A little bit of background. There's a vacant trustee position on the Firefighters Pension Board of Trustees due to the resignation of Terry Power. This trustee position is appointed by the City Council. The following persons submitted applications for the vacancy and confirmed their attendance for the March 3rd interviews, that is today. Rhonda Dunkley, Mark Lynn, Fraser Young. The appointed trustee will serve a term from March 5th, 2026 to March 5th, 2028. So we have our applicants here this evening. A suggested format.
Do them in alphabetical order, like they are on the list?
Yeah, go in order like they are on the list, allow a brief statement, and then we can ask any questions unless there's a different suggestion. All right.
Good to me.
So we will go in alphabetical order and begin with Rhonda Dunkley.
Before I start, I do have a letter of recommendation, and I don't think it's in your packet. I have 5 copies. Can I give them to her to pass out?
Yeah, do you have multiple copies of it?
Yes, I have 5.
Please, to our city clerk. And if you want to take 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're applying.
I'm Rhonda Dunkley. We've been here for 4.5 years. We moved from a small town in Ohio. Up there, I was volunteered a lot. I ran a pregnancy center. I paraprod as the school, and then we played the big red guy and his wife in December. He even played the fuzzy guy in April. I'm not supposed to tell that. No. And so with everything I did there, when we moved here, it was kind of like sad a little bit the first couple years because I didn't have anything to do. And not that it was a good thing the hurricanes came through, but it made me find my spot, my niche here. It made me find my friends who I now consider family. And so with anything, with any city or town, your fire department is like the most support, right? You're in a wreck, you want them there. Your house is on fire, you want them there. And so I just want to kind of give back support, and we were able to do the big red guy in December again, and that was probably of all the events that we did, the most treasured one, and seeing and like how they are as a family and stuff. And so I just kind of want to support them. I don't have a pension background. I'm not a firefighter, but I know you have those on the board, and so I kind of think like just a typical spot or normal spot that can just kind of help and support and care.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Dunkley?
Why were you interested in this position? You kind of explained it a little bit.
Yeah, I
There's
just
an
want to show
opportunity
more
talk about-
support within Oldsmar, and I think that'd be a good stepping stone to start that.
And then you kind of mentioned a little bit, what is your experience with pensions, and do you have one, or have you had a job that's involved one?
I mean, I worked at the prison, like oversaw like the hiring and firing of employees and stuff because I worked for the warden, but not necessarily like pension related.
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you. That's it for me.
Ms. May?
Nope.
There's one question, just to
Certainly.
clarify, the cadence or frequency is quarterly, and it's Wednesdays at 10 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to confirm that, and then my question would be, is that cadence, frequency, time, everything?
it's good. I don't work outside the home, and so my kids are grown.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Okay, next in alphabetical order, Mark Lynn. Hi, Mark.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Lynn, I live at 710 Sweetbriar Drive.
Will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Made Oldsmar my home. Kind of laughed at the elevation map because that was a big deal when I bought the house, but that's a story for another time. Retired out of Fort Hood, Texas, moved straight here in May of 2008, and then headed over to Iraq as a contractor to help close out Iraq initially, and then Afghanistan later. Did about 7 years of contracting before I finally came home in February 2015. But while I was in Iraq, at one such meeting, I presented the firefighters flags that I'd been flown in combat aircraft over there on different combat missions. It was out here in the hallway, but I think it got moved over to the display. So, and I can't express enough my appreciation for every Christmas that my daughter's gotten to enjoy Santa Claus being brought through the neighborhood on a fire engine. So again, much like her, I just want to give back. If I'm needed, I'm here to help.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Lynn?
Yes. What made you interested in this position?
Again, wanting to support the firefighters, the first responders. I come from Detroit, Michigan originally. Family of first responders, both firefighters and police officers. I joined the Army, so now's my chance to give back, help my community.
And then do you have any experience with pensions, or have you had a job that's granted you one?
No.
Okay. All right, that's it for me.
I did. Go ahead. Do you want to ask the frequency cadence questions?
Yes, I
or-
do.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I have no issue with the frequency of the meetings.
Thank you. To you.
All right.
If that's, please, then, okay, thank you. Hi, Mark.
Yes, sir.
You said you're in the Army. Can you give us a little bit more information about your career? First of all, thank you for your service. But you retired in '08, did some contracting work, but when did what was from the beginning of the career to?
I started in 1988, was in Desert Storm, Bosnia in '99, and then did Iraq, several tours over there. I was with the Longbow Apache attack helicopters. Don't know how much you may or may not have seen on the news, but I was with 1st Cavalry, the 2 pilots that were taken hostage. That was my unit. They didn't come back the night I launched them on that mission. So a lot of time downrange until I wasn't deployable anymore. I'm also a disabled veteran now, 100% disabled. So I gave them everything I had, and then tried to support them a little bit more after that until it was just time to come home because it didn't seem like it was ending. So.
And not about pensions directly, but you work at a law firm, your wife's law firm. So,
Yes, I help her out there.
right. So it's her firm, so the finances and all of that, you are around when all of those
I'm
happen.
around it, but as I'm not an attorney, I can't mess with the trust or the operating accounts.
No, of course not, but just being, at least you're in the room sometimes
Oh,
when
yes.
those decisions are being made. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you, Mayor.
I just didn't know you were from Detroit. I was born in Troy.
We're Grosse Pointe and Detroit meet over 7 Mile, Cadju, Mac.
See, it's
Yeah.
all full circle.
I know.
Full circle.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you
being
for the
here tonight.
opportunity.
And next, we have Fraser Young.
Hi everyone, Fraser Young, 307 Bay Arbor Boulevard. I threw my hat in the ring because I have a risk management financial services background. I've started at PwC as a risk management consultant, did all sorts of projects on what should the speed limit be during this tunnel that the city's building and all of that sort of work, and then moved to America, started at Citibank. I've worked in risk management, now at RBC, so I've got the skill set. I thought I'd support the city with this. So yeah, I mean, I can talk about my experience. My wife was born in Oldsmar, lived here 25 years. We moved here 2024. We bought a house, 2 young kids. Yeah, I understand that the role would be around overseeing the $11 million fund and hiring and firing the independent counsel and making sure that the fund is being managed appropriately and wouldn't be investment decisions and all that. So I understand what the role is, and I've got the skills. So.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Young?
I do.
Yes.
Bet you can't guess what I'm going to ask. What made you interested in this position?
I'm just interested in the city. I was texting Katie end of last year. She said this vacancy opened. I looked into it, researched it a bit, and after I spoke to Katie, I submitted the application. So
Okay. Do you have any experience with pensions? Have you had a job that's giving you one? And/or do you have relevant work experience that would make you have the skill set to deal with that?
yeah, so at Citibank, I was the head of the issues management program for retail and mortgage, so everything that a consumer would use at Citi. So I've had exposure to it, making sure it runs well, not so much the financial side, but other proper processes and controls in place.
Okay.
I've worked a lot with lawyers and compliance teams and all of that. So yes, I've done this before. Yes,
That's it for me.
and I can make a quarterly meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m.
You have to ask.
I have a question.
Certainly.
So you have like a long history with financial stability. How would you balance that with the retirees and what their needs are?
Just making sure that the ship keeps running smoothly. This is a really well-run fund. It's small. It closed in October of 2014, and folks aren't entering it. It's just making sure that folks' retirement money is managed appropriately. And it is. I've looked into it. I've read multiple years' worth of financials for the fund, and yeah, it's just making sure that everything is being done right with the actuary, and we're not overspending because it's a small fund. You want to make sure that your costs aren't huge, because spend like a 70 grand difference, 70 grand versus 100 grand, for example, in a year, has a disproportionate impact on a smaller fund because you got less people. It's not like a mega fund like Tampa. So yeah, just ensuring that costs are small.
Okay. So my question was more around like, how do you balance that with the people that you're dealing with? So the data is one thing, but then you're dealing with the people, and the decisions are based around people and
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, well, this is overseeing how the fund is run for the firefighters' pension. So, I mean, I can relate to firefighters. I appreciate that they look after my home. I've got the financial services background, which is what this the board trustee position would need. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not going to be at the fire station at Station 54 unless needed, of course. But yeah, I think that's what the role requires.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Yale? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I believe our city clerk has ballots.
I do, Mayor. So you can go ahead and take the one on the top.
And again, we are selecting one person to fill a vacancy for a 2-year term, March 5th, 2026 through March 5th, 2028. Take the one that has your name on it.
Oh, does it have?
What's your name? Mine says Steve.
Thank you for the instructions. I really needed help.
Just saying, mine says Steve.
It has been screwed up in the past. I'm not going to say by who.
Was it me?
All right, it was me.
Was it you?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. By a majority vote, Mark Lynn has been selected.
Okay,
Thank you. So, do we need a separate motion, or is
nope,
that constituted?
that's the motion, so congratulations, Mr. Lin. So you have been appointed to the position.
You'll contact him then.
Yeah, we're gonna probably do a orientation with him like we normally do with all new board members.
So we will be in touch with you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Appreciate all of you.
Councilmember Swager, do you want to ask if you can make that meeting?
On a roll tonight.
I'm
Wow.
just having fun. Why can't we have fun? These things are fun.
The next item on our agenda is item number 10. Our city attorney, Tom Trask, will be handling this.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, item number 10 is a public hearing and second reading of ordinance 2026-02. I'm going to read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending section 5.1.6 yards and subsections 5.4.1.5 building site area requirements, 5.4.1.8 floor area and impervious surface requirements, 5.4.2.5 building site requirements, 5.4.2.8 floor area and impervious surface requirements, 5.4.3 building site area requirements, 5.4.3.8 floor area requirements. I'm off one, so 5.4.3.5 building site area requirements, 5.4.3.8 floor area and impervious surface ratio requirements, 5.4.4.6 building site requirements, 5.4.8 floor area ratio and impervious surface requirements of section 5.4 residential of subsections and subsections 5.9.2.6.2.c side yard, 5.9.2.6.2d rear yard, 5.9.2.63b rear yard, and 5.9.2.6.3c side yard of section 5.9.26 building area requirements of section 5.9 planned unit development districts of Article 5 zoning regulations of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar and amending section 3.3.7 accessory structures within the town center residential and town center boulevard districts of the Article 3 land use and zoning of the town center development code, provide for consistency of pool setback standards, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. I had provided to you earlier today a revision to the ordinance after it was first read. It added a section 3 to the ordinance covering section 5.9 of the planned unit development districts. This was discussed at the previous meeting. It was not in the ordinance as drafted, the first reading. So we have modified this ordinance to add that additional paragraph. The paragraph is in section 3 of the ordinance as it reads right now that had been handed out. That's why there's a little bit difference in the reading of the title, because we picked up that section. So this will come back to you for a third reading to make sure that we have 2 full public hearings on the revised ordinance.
Understood. Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item?
No.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadaszewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Olmsted,
Yes.
Councilmember Swager,
Yes.
Mayor Gannon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-02 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 11 on the agenda is the public hearing and second reading of ordinance 2026-03. I'll read that ordinance by title only. This is ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending subsection 15.8.3 handicap parking stall requirements of section 15.8 parking and loading requirements of Article 15 designs and construction standards of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar to amend current city code requirement for handicap parking stalls from a 15-foot width to a more standardized configuration of a 12-foot parking stall with a 5-foot access aisle, to update terminology from handicap to accessible and to reflect current and accepted standards of the Florida Building Code and the applicable requirement of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2026-03 by title only. It was first read on February 17th. There have been no changes to this ordinance.
Thank you, Tom. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mayor, roll call, please.
I'm sorry, roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadaszewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Olmsted,
Yes.
Councilmember Swager,
Yes.
Mayor Gannon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-03 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, that's all I have.
I will get it. I'm still learning.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you for the reminder.
It's been 7 years.
Not as mayor.
Graber's spicy
I'm
tonight.
just
I'm
saying.
feeling
I'm
the
just saying.
spiciness coming
I'm
this
just
way.
saying.
I have my attorney here, you know.
You know,
I'm
but
just saying.
I also have mine.
Thank you so much, Tom. Next item on the agenda, number 12, will be handled by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you. Item 12 is to consider and approve authorizing the city manager to proceed with the procurement of a consultant to study fire assessment fees. At the February 17th council meeting, council discussed potential fiscal impacts associated with revenue uncertainty and proposed state property tax legislation and reviewed multiple response options. During that discussion, a fire assessment fee was identified as a potential revenue-related tool, and council requested that I return with an item to initiate the evaluation. In response, this item will authorize me to identify a qualified consultant to study the legal, technical, and financial viability of a potential fire assessment fee for the city. The consultant's scope of work would include evaluating applicable methodologies, there's a couple of them, statutory considerations, data requirements, and administrative requirements, and if warranted, preparing the draft documentation to support the potential implementation. This item authorized initiation of the procurement process only. Execution of a consultant services contract would require subsequent city council approval. This item does not establish a fire assessment fee, adopt a methodology, or commit the city to implementation. Any findings or draft materials prepared by the consultant would be presented to council for consideration at a future meeting.
Thank you so much, Felicia. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
I just had a quick question
Certainly.
for the city manager. So, knowing there are roughly 175 other municipalities that have a fire assessment fee, is it possible for us as a city to extrapolate that data to kind of come up with our own method to come up with these potential fire assessment fees rather than hiring a consultant, and who knows how much that would be?
Please say no. That sounds like a legal disaster, but go ahead, Felicia.
50,000, all right, but I'm just wondering.
So a fire assessment is a special assessment, and so that's governed by Florida law. And so it really has to meet two statutory requirements, and that is assessment must provide a special benefit to the property being assessed, right? And the second is that the cost must be fairly and reasonably apportioned among the properties receiving that benefit. So Florida statutes also has a established process for considering and adopting these kind of and collecting non-ad valorem assessments. And so a consultant has to help the city conduct the analysis. They're all different because they're looking at our specific data. So we can't take somebody else's data and use it for ourselves because they have to actually demonstrate what, you know, the cost of the service or the delivery and the demand calls specific to our area. Those are two different methodologies, which will the consultant will discuss with you all as we proceed. And then it's really to help distribute equitably those costs throughout the system. And then it's to develop as the mayor alluded to, a legally defensible method of allocating the costs to different property types. So, for instance, a commercial may pay different rate than a residential property. So that's a great question. And I would love it if we could do that, but we can't.
Good to know.
Or we shouldn't.
I was gonna say,
I'm going to say we could, but we shouldn't do that.
it sounds like we could, but we probably shouldn't. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of law involved.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No. Any further discussion? Okay. Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much. Item number 13.
Is the consideration and approval of a community engagement approach to help inform appropriate level of service. At the February 17th council meeting, council discussed potential fiscal impacts associated with revenue uncertainty. As part of that discussion, council requested that I return with a proposed community engagement approach to help inform future discussion regarding appropriate levels of service based on public input for council consideration during the budget process. And that's not this year's budget process, but through next year's budget. So in response, we developed a structured community engagement approach designed to gather community-wide policy-level input on what stakeholders value most about city services and how those priorities should inform future budget discussions. The approach is intended to obtain input on desired outcomes and acceptable trade-offs without asking the community to identify specific budget cuts or implementation actions. So the proposed community engagement approach includes a 3-phase framework. Phase 1 is a facilitated in-person community focus groups to allow deeper discussion of community values, priority service areas, and scenario-based trade-offs. I would facilitate those meetings, so we wouldn't have an outside consultant do that. Phase 2 includes a brief online community survey to obtain broader input for priorities and desired service outcomes and what values the most. And then the third phase is analysis of all the engagement results, translating that input into policy level guidance to inform the budget. So under our charter, the city manager prepares a proposed budget to the council, and then the council, has inputs through work sessions, and then the council has ultimate authority over that budget. So we would basically package up all the input as an input into those discussions. And across all these phases, the approach is really structured to help distinguish which services the communities believe should be protected, which ones should be maintained at current levels, and really which ones that maybe we could redesign, or maybe there's an alternative service delivery method as resources become more constrained. And as we discuss, resources are more constrained because of a variety of factors, right? And so engagement results would be compiled into a summary report and presented to the councils to explain, how the community input informs staff's evaluation of the budget options, which I would present to the council. So I've attached the community engagement approach in the packet for consideration.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on this item?
Yes.
Okay, got a couple.
Okay, so I think that this is a great plan. Just to make it clear, I think it's an awesome plan, but I'm not sure that it falls under our purview to actually engage in approving it. If we look at our charter, where policy ordinances, this is not that. This is more methodology. So my question is, I feel like this kind of ties our hands if we do approve it. And if something changes, we have something else that the city manager needs to work on instead of this, we kind of tying her hands to this. So I would consider, not moving forward with it, I guess.
Councilman Swager, did you have, I didn't hear if you said that you had a question or anything. Okay. Councilmember Tadasowski?
Just to clarify, I think I agree with you, Councilmember Olmsted, but I want to make sure. What you're saying is stick with this plan, with this as like the outline for what the city manager is doing, but not tie her directly to this, so that if we need to add extra steps, if we need to add additional time to our timeline to get it done, she would have the flexibility to do that. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. I'm saying that we should leave it to her to decide if this is the right plan at the right time. So I don't think we should vote on the plan at all. I think we should maybe talk about, I would change it to maybe support the city manager's community engagement efforts with regard to this, but I wouldn't define how she does her job.
Okay. I don't disagree with that. I do think it's helpful to have an outline and a plan on how we're gonna approach this. And I agree that this does fall under the city manager's day-to-day responsibilities. We already set our priorities, transparency, community engagement, and I feel like this falls under that community engagement umbrella of our priorities. But I do want to make sure, even if we don't technically approve like if I withdraw the motion, we let it pass, that there's an understanding that this is the general outline of what we're doing, that there's not a day that we're like, we're just not doing that anymore. So I don't know how to do that appropriately.
Yeah, let's see, let's just, Vice Mayor, before we do anything procedurally, I want to get your comments.
Tom, is a motion necessary to implement the plan that the city manager has presented to city council as official action necessary from council in order for Felicia to follow this plan?
You do not have to adopt a plan. She already understands what she needs to do. So my advice to you would, based on the comments that I've heard so far, is to withdraw the motion and just express your opinion on the approach that she has discussed in this memorandum that she's provided.
Okay,
Does our conversation end as soon as I withdraw the motion?
And this is more of a, I guess this is more of a presentation of what Felicia and staff have come up with. So an official action from council isn't necessary for it to be implemented unless we have suggestions.
right, I think
The
if you
motion's with-
withdraw the motion, we can just have a discussion and a general consensus about
Got it. I just
what
want
we
to make
think
sure
about the plan.
procedurally. Okay.
No,
No,
nothing,
it does not stop the discussion once you withdraw the motion.
yeah,
Okay.
Motion withdrawn.
okay. So,
I
okay,
think,
So now I'll make my comment. I think it's a great plan, and I think if you followed this plan, we will probably be very successful. But it just doesn't tie you to, coming back if something changes and having to approve a change. And, I just think it gives her the flexibility to do her job.
I'd say if there were any modifications or amendments, it'd be good for a council to be aware. And,
I mean, yeah, if, let's say, that I'm tracking this same line of thinking is more of like a living document.
Right.
You know, let's say we start phase one and nobody shows up to the focused meeting. Well, then we obviously are gonna need to, change our approach, but as stated, Felicia Donnelly is quite aware of what it means to pivot. Or if there is a hurricane, God forbid, but if something happens that requires the city manager's attention, obviously, priorities, as was mentioned, would take precedent. So I also think that this is a great outline, a great plan. I'm sure we'll hear more about it. And I'm sure it will, change based on the input we received. And I think that's the important part, is to let it change.
right.
Any other thoughts or comments?
I thought it was good too, and I like the multifaceted approach of, starting with in-person feedback and then going to online so that people aren't,
Yeah.
I could just do this online, I don't have to show up
Right.
in person.
Right.
It changes your feedback if you're in person, engaging in conversation, you can ask questions real time, so I thought it was a good plan too.
I'm all set.
All right. I thank you for the motion for the purposes of discussion. It was fruitful. All right. And item number 14.
Item number 14 is to consider the approval of the special event application fee waiver request and use of the city logo for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce's Oldsmar Days and Nights event to be held April 10th through 12th, 2026. Oldsmar Days and Nights is a citywide celebration that began in 1962 as a half-day picnic called Oldsmar Days by the Oldsmar Volunteer Firemen. The Chamber of Commerce assumed the event in 1964 and later expanded to become a weekend-long celebration as it is now. The event is a signature occasion in Oldsmar. It attracts around 5,000 people to the park and downtown area over the weekend. Visitors can enjoy various activities such as a parade, a carnival, arts and crafts, food and beverage vendors, a car show, and live music. The proceeds generated from the event are used to support the annual operations of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. This item requests a waiver of fees in the amount of $8,845. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar special event fee waiver policy, the applicant has submitted a required $150 special event license fee, prior year's event financial report, the current year's event budget, and the statement of allocated proceeds. The organization has provided its most recently filed tax return for consideration in lieu of a balance sheet. Upon review, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce requests that the city waive the eligible fees associated with the event. All other external costs, including utility fees of $1,035, will be the event organizer's responsibility as outlined. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce will recognize the city as a sponsor at the appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. Copy of the application is attached for review. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
Looking forward to it.
See, Mr. McKinley is here. Hopefully, I received my reminder that we will be having Sunday, pouring day. Is that still correct, sir?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, Mayor, sir.
And the parade as well, so hopefully we'll see everybody, if they're able, in attendance out there, and we, of course, look forward to seeing all of you out there as well. So if there's no further discussion on this item, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Kristen, you got anything else tonight?
I do not,
Your
besides the
chair
next
still
item.
comfy?
It's a different chair tonight, but that's okay.
What? What is with the chair? We're putting like chair merry-go-rounds up here or something. No.
Wait, did we change?
We're gonna get you, we'll find your chair.
That's okay, it's keeping me awake.
We had to, we had to change we did, yeah, we had to change it.
Okay, okay. Well, we're gonna make sure you have the chair that you like.
Thank you,
It's
Mayor.
great to have you back. Next on the agenda, the proclamation policy discussion. So just briefly, we award ceremonial items, including proclamations, to acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments of individuals, organizations, or groups within the community. The awarding of ceremonial items by City Council is a way to foster a strong, connected, and engaged community. We adopted this policy by Resolution 2024-51. It defines a proclamation as an official public declaration by the mayor. We've subsequently changed that part to the City Council to raise awareness, recognize an organization, business, issue, event, or individual that has impacted the city of Oldsmar during a specific time frame, and outlines the procedure as follows. Individuals and organizations seeking a proclamation must submit an application along with sample language that can be modified. Recipients must be able to attend the council meeting to receive the proclamation, as proclamations will not be mailed. The mayor and/or council members may also propose a proclamation subject to council approval. Proclamations will be listed on the agenda under the consent docket for approval at the council meeting prior to their presentation. Approved proclamations will be presented by the mayor and/or council members on a rotating basis. Proclamations proposed by city staff will continue to be added to the council meeting agendas as needed. Okay, so I think everybody up here has realized that the proclamation thing has become a thing. And I don't think it was intended to be a thing. We were trying to formalize the process, right? But now we've got applications from everybody. And I don't think that was necessarily the intent, as it was brought up previously. The city clerk's office used to kind of thin the requests for proclamations and limit it to, things that were relevant to city services, city goals or initiatives. They were typically brought forth by staff in connection with a specific event or month. Arbor Day, flood, like tonight, Flood Awareness Week, fire prevention, different things that are associated with continuing to educate the public and such like that, as opposed to private interests, interests of nonprofits and things like that. So we've got this thing happening on the consent docket. We're continually pulling the item if it's not related to a city event, and then we have to go through this procedure and discuss it, and that risks, bringing someone to a meeting, potentially, you know, putting them in a strange position where, you know, it's been put on the docket according to the policy, and now they're here, and because it's not related to the city of Oldsmar, you know, perhaps we don't approve it at that time. And I think the policy, as was mentioned, needs some clarification. I had a thought, you know, I'm welcome to ideas on this. I thought simply changing the definition of proclamation might be the easiest way to do it. Changing proclamation to, a proclamation is an official public declaration by the council, because we do it by the council now, it's not by the mayor, to recognize or raise awareness about, I put, you know, city services, activities, or other issues that align with the priorities and goals of, you know, as approved by the city manager, something along those lines. Because I realize in looking at all of the rest of these ceremonial items, we have lots of other ways to recognize different organizations, right? You know, we can give congratulatory letters, certificates of recognition and appreciation. It can even be on the fancy paper in the black folder, right? So that, you know, council members can still, you know, bring up, you know, this organization is doing something incredible, or did you hear about this person? We should definitely, you know, award them this. And that way we could make use of perhaps some of the other ceremonial items that have been kind of ignored because we keep doing this proclamation thing again and again and again. So open to thoughts. What do you guys
Could you
think?
reread your definition?
Oh, that was just kind of me spitballing. I wrote down a couple of things. A proclamation is an official public declaration by the council to recognize or raise awareness regarding city services and activities that align with or prioritize the goals of the city or the city manager.
But we need
Do
to
you
change
feel
the,
like-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
the policy and procedure for proclamations would need to be changed, right?
Right.
You want to change the definition, but it's the policy, yeah, I figured.
So by changing the definition, we could also, you know, limit down the procedure, because the recipient's probably going to be a city staff member.
Would it be at the discretion of the city clerk like it was previously?
I don't know. I think that puts a lot of, because I don't know that that was the right procedure either, right? Having the city clerk, you know, deciding.
Because what's been happening with the consent docket is that we end up presenting them that night,
Right.
right? So we keep it that way?
No, I think it should, I think city staff should still make an effort to get it in before we have to, you know, approve it in the consent docket and present it the same night. I think it should still come in the form of a consent docket. I just think that, you know, we could suggest, you know, hey, Felicia, are we doing that proclamation for Arbor Day or Fire Awareness Week? Or are we doing something to commemorate the, I don't know, the anniversary of this, or, you know, the founding of Oldsmar's 110th birthday? You know, things that are suggestions to the city manager or from staff that are like directly relevant. And it's coming from us or
Right.
city staff or the city manager and not just anybody.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yes,
as to
sir.
language? So under the policy and procedure, I think I understand what you're talking about. Here's my suggestion. So under proclamation, it would just read, the council members or city staff may propose a proclamation subject to council approval. Proclamations will be listed on the agenda under the consent docket for approval at the council meeting prior to their presentation. Approved proclamations will be presented by the mayor and/or council members on a rotating basis.
It's a good thing this is recorded, because that was,
Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and let me just tell you what my goal in rewording it that way is it gives you a little bit of ability to, on an individualized basis, someone comes to you, you're basically the proposer, the representative of that proclamation. So maybe not just nail it down on the definition, but give you some leeway, but it only comes from city council members or city staff. So let me just read it again. The council members or city staff may propose a proclamation, subject to council approval. Proclamations will be listed on the agenda under the consent docket for approval at the council meeting prior to their presentation. Approved proclamations will be presented by the mayor and/or council members on a rotating basis. So you're getting it on the agenda. It's not just one person pushing it through and it's automatically going to get on it. The council still has to approve it. And then if you do approve it, then it'll actually be read.
So that allows us to sponsor a
Right.
proclamation if we have something near and dear
Right.
relevant to the city and
Then
beneficial.
at least somebody's vetting it and putting it on the agenda in a more purposeful manner. I like that, Tom.
I just have a question to clarify. So currently, our proclamations presented by city staff have not been going to council for approval. That last line, proclamations proposed by city staff will continue to be added to the council meeting agendas as needed. That's how those have been handled. So like tonight's proclamation for the flood awareness, that one was not pre-approved by council. It just came to council for presentation.
Yeah, and to
So
that
would we
point, right,
continue
yeah.
that practice, or?
So the way I'm proposing it, no. It would be the council would approve the proclamations. So they're getting a crack at every proclamation, whether it's presented by a council member, the mayor, or city staff. City staff just doesn't have a free-for-all on it. So that's my suggestion. Take out that last sentence. Give city staff the ability to do it, but it would still have to be approved by the council
On the consent docket.
on the consent docket.
So I like the idea of having a presentation to approve it. Like having whoever is the recipient, right, to show up and give a presentation, like before we even,
There are people that the requests have been coming in from all parts of the state and sometimes parts of the country.
right,
So
but
you'd be asking them to come twice,
yes.
right? But
If
what,
they would like a proclamation in the city of Oldsmar, then they should, in my opinion, come and present the proclamation, let us approve it, and then they can be a recipient of it. And if it doesn't happen at the same meeting, they should still show up twice if it's meaningful. And I would show up twice regardless of where, or I wouldn't file it in a place where I wasn't willing to show up twice.
I just think it makes it that much more burdensome, only because what if we do say no?
I think it makes it awkward.
Yeah, well, sure, well, that's part of the gig, but,
Well, then they'd only have to show up once.
right, so if we approve it now, they only have to show, well, sure, but they made me go all the way to Oldsmar just to get sent back home. They could have just done this without me. Why did they have
But,
to
I
do-
mean, then it would be up to us,
Presentation.
if we were the ones presenting it, to explain that to them. Like, there is, you have to present this, and there's an opportunity to get it passed, and there's an opportunity that won't pass. So if we were the ones presenting it, if we rewrote it, then that would, it would behoove us to have that conversation with whoever
So
we're throwing into the hat here.
I can speak for myself. It is highly unlikely that I would be sponsoring a proclamation from a national or international organization.
Same.
Yeah, probably not going to be, anything that has no direct impact or relevance to the city of Oldsmar. While I personally might have, support for last meeting's colorectal cancer awareness month, I don't think the city has any business, handing out proclamations in that manner. So I don't disagree with you that, yes, a council member could theoretically do that, but I think that still changing the definition as suggested, the procedure as suggested by Tom accomplishes that goal. So if you want to have somebody come and present it, you can put it on the consent docket, we'll pull it, and they can present, but
I think requiring them to be here gives, then they have to present it. They're not just presenting it to us, right? This is public, so they're presenting it to the city as well. And then everybody's understanding what we're approving and why.
right, it would
Because there
still
could be,
come on the
the
consent docket.
colorectal cancer could have affected somebody in our city, and that's how it came up, and it was just facilitated through somewhere else,
I think
so.
mandating it is a lot for me.
I will.
You can come, and forgive me again, but you can come, but saying, be here or else we're gonna say no. We're much more welcoming than, you know, like, I don't think a mandated presentation is necessary.
I just want to say, from my perspective, the reason that I wanted to discuss this a little bit and narrow down some of the language on who can propose, who can apply for a proclamation. We had a proclamation that was proposed back in, I believe, September of last year. And this was around the time when Governor DeSantis was doing some Doge things. There were some political language on a website from the sponsor of the proclamation, the person who put in the request. And I did go look at it. I will say, we're all nonpartisan. It leaned liberal. We all know who our governor is.
Not trying to draw attention here.
Not, exactly. I'm choosing my words very carefully. I think that with our political climate, the wider we leave this area, the more there is for that type of discussion. I think that our decisions will be leaning more towards one way when we're supposed to be nonpartisan, so as not to draw attention, if that makes sense.
I think I share the same goal, and I go back to the statement of the policy. And the policy statement is, the city council awards ceremonial items to celebrate the achievements of residents, businesses, and organizations, fostering community connection and engagement. So, you know, I don't disagree that, you know, council members can bring something forward in the form of a proclamation if so desired. They can put it on the consent docket, and we can pull the item if the person is here. They can present once the item has been pulled. It can then be, you know, approved or not approved. And if approved, the proclamation could move forward. I don't see how changing the procedure limits in anybody from applying. I just think that you might get a no vote during the consent docket process from taking the temperature up here, but it doesn't change the ability to do that. Councilman Sparger, any other thoughts?
I didn't have any. I mean, I think keeping it the same, I'm okay with. If we don't feel comfortable with approving a proclamation when it's presented, then we vote on it. I think if we change it, as Tom suggested, that would be sufficient as well. I just, I guess, haven't thought through what that process would look like in terms of communication. If it would, you know, someone approached us individually and then we, you know, email the city clerk to, you know, that part I'm just kind of unclear on what that would look like, because now someone's submitting it online, right? And that's when it's, you know, received by the city clerk, so.
Yeah, so instead, the person or organization could come to you, and then you would say, I have a proclamation to our city clerk, and I'd like to add it to the consent docket, and it would be on the consent docket for potential approval, and if approved, then by, you know, all of us, then the proclamation would be given.
No, I understand.
Kind of uncomplicate the process, actually.
No, yeah, completely understand all of that, actually. It's the application, the web page that they fill out, the 15 or so fields. Are we now going to be the ones submitting that application on their behalf? Or we just say, hey, so-and-so wants to do this, and then there's a Q&A back and forth?
Or do they submit it and they have a sponsor?
So,
Let's let Tom.
so we're removing the application process completely
Okay.
in the procedure. So that the only way that it's ever gonna get to the council up here is if they contact you directly and you feel comfortable enough to sponsor that proclamation to get it on the consent agenda. And then you can advise them if they want to add any additional information, they can appear here in the council. And if the mayor and the council gives them the authority after pulling it from the consent agenda, they can speak about it. But the language that I'm suggesting, there's no application process any longer. There's nothing on the website about an application process. Okay.
Okay, I think we've all expressed our thoughts. I like the language that Tom has suggested, and I like this idea of limiting it down. I think it lessens the burden on the clerk's office and addition of agenda items. I think it's important that we focus on the policy and focus on the city. So I would be in favor of a motion to adjust the policy as discussed by Tom in the language that he suggested.
It's done by resolution, so I need to bring it back to you. I guess if there's direction to move forward, I'll just draft it, bring it back to you. We'll get it on the council agenda for approval of the resolution. And there may be other, you may discuss it again, obviously, but I'll,
So I should probably pause there and see if there is a consensus to move forward, though, because it sounds like there might be
I would like to move,
dissension.
I would like to move forward with Tom's language. The only question I have is, do we want to change our definition as well to include some of the items that you suggested to narrow that as well, just to better guide the process? Or do you feel like that's unnecessary?
I would, honestly, I would defer to Tom on that, because the
I feel it's
changes.
unnecessary,
Yeah.
because it's just been the process that's been the issue.
Correct.
It really hasn't been, what is a proclamation or what isn't a proclamation, but it's just the process that you were trying to resolve.
Got it.
We tried to formalize it, and it became a free-for-all,
Yeah.
is what happened. Vice Mayor?
Yes, move forward with Tom's suggestions.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and prepare that and bring it back to you.
Thank you so much, Tom, appreciate you. Okay, item number 16, council comments, coming to you first, Councilman Swager.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much other than welcome back, Kristen.
Thank you.
And then thank you to Jenny. Don't forget to adjust your clocks Saturday night.
Oh, man.
Yep.
God.
Bring it ahead.
I hate daylight savings.
But that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Olmsted.
Yeah, I also don't have much, but welcome back, Kristen. We missed you. We're glad you're back. Cute baby pictures. Sorry we missed Little League kickoff this past weekend. That
Weather had other
I
plans.
felt bad for those kiddos,
I know.
so I'm looking forward to Saturday and seeing them kick it off over there. So, yeah, that's it.
Councilmember Chadwick.
Yes, it was a little disappointing that the Little League opening day got rained out, but I did find some other community activities to do. I stopped by the Saturday market that's being run by our Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce and picked up some sourdough and some microgreens. Of course, I got to get my fix in. And I also stopped by Granny's Attic out at Golair Village. They do a fundraiser every spring to help kind of offset some of the costs for their social events that they do all year. And so I found that, so the community donates items, they sell them like a yard sale, and so I always find some treasures. I ended up with a giant bag tote that they gave me on my way out. So I went with my mom, and she found some treasures too. So, so that was fun. And then just a quick note, I think happy birthday to my husband. It'll be his birthday before our next council meeting. He turns 40 this year, so super old. And
Ouch.
I was about to say, welcome to the club, but
had to take the
apparently it's not a club
I'm
anybody wants to be a
I'm
part of.
old to young people, but young to old people, right? Like, it's just
Okay.
in the middle.
he turns 40, and I will take every moment to remind him he is older than me until December when I turn 40 myself. So happy birthday, honey. I love you. That's it.
Vice Mayor?
I'm supposed to go home and take a nap, I think. I'm 46. 40. It's fine. It's fine.
I got to take my shots where I can get them.
No, take them, as you saw tonight. That's what I've been trying to do all day. Anyway, Little League was a total bummer, Chip. I was really excited about, I know you didn't do it. Thanks a lot, right? But it's such a fun event, and like, because the games don't start for a little bit, and it's all the blocked out part of time. I can't go on Saturday because I have a date with my wife and my children. We're going to Straz to see Dogman the musical. It's very exciting around the Graber household. So I will be there with them. I do want to say that I was supposed to go to opening day, so I couldn't go to the delivery for Life as a Donation, which started at Let's Go, as it does, Councilmember Olmsted. But the delivery was to the Kimberly home in Clearwater. And so it was really important, for those of you who don't know, my daughter started to volunteer with Life as a Donation. So she's been to the January and February drop-offs at the end of each month. But my wife decided to take her, which I thought was really awesome. It was a really good experience for her. She always says, you know, she gets excited about going, then right on the eve of going, she doesn't want to go because she's 9. And then as soon as she gets there, she really understands the help that she's providing and understanding that, you know, what we try to give back as much as we can around here. Kristen, welcome back. I am sorry about the chair. Really, we're going to get right on that.
It's a conundrum.
We could get a proclamation that Kristen needs a new chair. I would sponsor that.
Oh, heavens.
Kristen, welcome back. And I just want to recognize, as other people have, Jenny and your entire staff did a phenomenal job while you were away. And just, I joked with Kristen yesterday, and I said, I don't think the first thing Jenny's going to do is watch the council meeting when she doesn't have to go to them anymore. But if she isn't watching, if you are watching, Jenny, I mean it sincerely, but if not, please pass along our best to her. That is all I had. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Jenny, you did a fantastic job, and really, I hope that you were able to take that time, enjoy that time, and not worry, because the staff you have is incredible. Jenny Masinovsky was a fantastic deputy clerk for every meeting. A couple other reminders. The Armadillo Run's coming up on March 14th. I believe Councilmember Cindy Olmstead will be there to welcome everyone. Also, the extravaganza with, you know, the scavenger hunt, that will, you know, that's not the scavenger hunt, the egg hunt.
It's the Easter egg hunt, yeah.
The Easter egg, is it really a hunt though if it happens in 30 seconds? I don't really know. The extravaganza is
When
on
you said
Saturday,
scavenger hunt,
March
I was like-
28th, 10 to 1 at RE Olds Park. Stay tuned for more information about that. And Breakfast with the Bunny is also coming up on March 21st. And just for a little bit of background, a lot of people have referred to Little League and this and that. What had happened was Little League opening day was scheduled to take place this past Saturday. It's where they do the parade of all the teams, recognition of each of the players, all of the volunteers, all the sponsors, the parents. I mean, it's a massive, massive effort to make Little League happen. It's incredible how much work goes into it, and the people that are involved year over year, the families that keep coming back. And it's really a fantastic event to hilariously watch me try to throw a softball or a baseball. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel about it, the weather saw fit to make a torrential downpour on the Friday night before, thus making Saturday morning quite soggy. So it's, of course, not good for our players to play on very wet, muddy fields. And, of course, the presentation would not have been wonderful because it was actually still raining on Saturday morning until I think about noon, then it cleared up. So this weekend there is a soft opening day over at the park. I believe at the same time, around 9 a.m., we're going to have just a little event. So if you are so inclined, head on out to Oldsmar Sports Complex and give a hello to those kids and families. They really do remind you what we're all here for. I want to thank the Cub Scouts for coming out to the meeting tonight to give our Pledge of Allegiance. I think they did an excellent job.
They did.
Quite enthusiastic delivery of the pledge. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that on February 24th, the school board did approve transitioning Oldsmar Elementary into a K-8 program. And so there's lots of questions. Everybody wants to know, you know, what programs are going to be offered, because folks want to make an informed decision on whether or not they want to have their students continue from Forest Lakes or Oldsmar Elementary to 6th grade at Oldsmar Elementary, or if they want to go to Carwise or explore other options. If you have questions about those things, the very first thing you should do is give a call over to Oldsmar Elementary, talk to Principal Logan, schedule a visit, make sure you get answers for any student-specific questions. For example, if you were attending Oldsmar Elementary or Forest Lakes Elementary due to hurricane displacement or something like that, and you have a student-specific question of whether or not your child has a seat, or if you have something administratively to do or complete, really important, get those questions answered. Obviously, a lot of excitement over at the school, and I'm really, really happy about that. More options for our families is always a good thing, especially if it involves logistical challenges or social challenges. I think it's fantastic. So with that, we will move on to item number 17, consider approval of the tentative agenda for the March 17, 2026 council meeting. Does anyone wish to pull or add anything? Okay, seeing none, chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sensing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The last item on our agenda, unless we want to stay here all night, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This does not require a vote. We are adjourned. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom.
But you were asking.